Hey, how we doing? Welcome in. It is A to Z Sports Prime Time here on a Monday night. I'm coming at you. It is Monday, November 11th, and the Tennessee Titans are 2-7. Sam Phelan here with you tonight. I'm here in place of Buck Rising. Buck will be with you tomorrow night. Normally, Tuesday night, kind of my thing. Monday night's kind of Buck's thing, but I'll hold it down tonight. We'll get you in and out of here before Monday Night Football even kicks off, so you guys can enjoy the rest of your evening. But little football preview with a little bit more football as we talk some Titans here on a Monday. Gonna go over what I believe are not just the issues that plagued the Titans against the Los Angeles Chargers yesterday afternoon, but also the issues that I believe are holding back this organization in general. Things that this football team in 2024 cannot seem to do, and why the Titans will continue to lose games as long as they're going on. After we get into the reasons why this Titans team can't win, going to talk a little bit of Will Levis. Spoiler alert, I don't know if he's one of those reasons, and I'm not sure Brian Callahan does either. So going to be a big show. Got a lot of big topics. As usual, the Titans at 2-7 still find a way to keep us interesting, keep us coming back, and keep us having interesting things to talk about. So welcome in. It is another edition of Sad Boy Radio, as Browning says in the chat, but go ahead and leave a like anyway. Leave a like on the show, share the show, get the word out that we're live here on a on a Monday night. And I like this comment from Corey, mood lighting. I got to figure out my lighting situation because whoa, that's bright, right? But now we're okay. Maybe a ring light, something of that nature. It's just a little bit difficult with my makeshift setup. I'm getting ready to move apartment buildings, and therefore I have about half of the furniture that one would actually require in an apartment building. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. But while you guys go ahead and do that, like the show and share the show, I'll welcome you in. So welcome in officially to A to Z Sports Primetime. Not in the Zen Sports Studios tonight. I'm not Buck Rising, but I am Sam Phelan. I'm with you Tuesday nights now through the end of the 2024 NFL season. And even though it's not Tuesday night, normally Tuesdays, that's where you can catch me here on Primetime. I'm presented to you as always by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Two Rivers Ford and Mount Juliet are online at tworiversford.com for more information. Zen Sports, that's your place to bet. If you were on the Titans in +7 against the Chargers is what I was trying to take them at. They did not cover that. We'll see what it is against the Vikings. I'm not sure if there's even an opening line for that game yet, but I'm sure it's ugly. Do it with Zen Sports. Zen Sports is at the official Titans tailgate parties. They're also the official customer support information. So promo code ATOZTN in the Zen Sports app. That's ATOZTN in the Zen Sports app. If you're in need of a new workout program, TrueMav Fitness is the place for you to go. TrueMav Fitness located in the Gulch where no workouts ever recycled or repeated. TrueMavFitness.com is the website. You can go there for more information. We're going to talk a little bit about the reasons why I think this Titans team not only lost to the Chargers, but continues to lose games the same way in 2024. Because really, I came away from that game yesterday shrugging my shoulders and saying, yeah, same old Titans, same old team, losing games in the exact same way. But I do believe from just what I've heard from Titans fans, from you guys in the chat on my various shows, from what I've seen scrolling social media, I think there's a bit of a misconception about what it is that the Titans do poorly and why it is that they're losing these games. So I will ask you all to shed your light, give me your opinion on this issue by asking you my first question of the evening right off the bat. What is the biggest reason for the Titans' continued losing in 2024? I think some people might say it's the quarterback play. I think some people might say it's the coaching or the play calling. And you can do generic stuff if you want, but try and find something about the identity of this football team, because I have three of them. I have three things about the identity of the Titans football team that I think continues to lose them games. You guys sound off in the chat. I see lack of culture already coming in from Clayton. I see play calling as expected. I see John says coaching doesn't have it together, a conservative game plan, which I think has gotten better over the last few weeks. I was all in on this. Like they were very conservative with Will Levis early in the year. I think this has gotten better. Halftime adjustments from Trey, which is another difficult one for me because the Titans are bad in the second half of games, but I'm not sure I can say it's halftime adjustments. Like an NFL coach would tell you, very little actually goes on at halftime. It's more adjustments over the course of a game that I would say, Trey. The adjustments over the course of the game haven't been there. The Titans seem to come out hot and then cannot build momentum or cannot answer in the second half once the game starts to shift into a new game than the one they kicked off in. Winning masks things, losing exposes all, which I think is true when you talk about cultural issues or the coaching having it together. No identity. I didn't think of this, but I would agree with this at the end of the day, or at least I would say it's a volatile identity. Because the Titans do have an identity. Their identity on offense and like their identity as a football team is they're going to try and play very good defense. They're going to stop the run. They're going to be a bleed offense themselves that, runs the ball very well, eats up a lot of clock, controls the game. They're not going to put up gaudy 25, 30-point games. But if they can work efficiently and not turn the ball over, they'll get 20 points, 23 points, and milk enough time off the clock to beat you because their defense will be that strong. That's the identity of this team. Do they do that? No, because they don't execute their identity. And because I think their identity is a little bit too volatile. Their identity leaves very little margin for error. And when you're not a talented football team, little margin for error leads to catastrophe. So that's what I would say about the identity crisis. And I do think their identity is also adapting and changing. Play calling, discipline, just plain lack. Okay. Love it. They lack a lot for sure. Definitely no culture, low morale. I'll talk about that. B-Birds, good call on low morale. I'll talk about it in a minute. Very mid quarterback play, which is true. They've had mid quarterback play at best. It's been mid. Sometimes it's been horrible, but it's been mid at best. But I would say you can also win with mid quarterback play, and we see that going on around the league elsewhere. Lack of immunity idols from Anthony. I think somebody needs to find a couple of hidden immunity idols because that might be the only way they can save themselves from getting voted off here in the offseason once the season is said and done. Start looking, boys. Start looking around the facility. See if you can save yourself for one more season. They don't know how to finish or play complementary football. Ding, ding, ding. Darren has hit one of my 3 reasons. He has checked off one of the boxes. Complementary football. I think Brian Callahan actually, in his opening comments of the press conference he had on Sunday afternoon, I think he kind of hits all 3 of the things I'm going to talk about. Here's what the head coach opened with after the loss yesterday.
Of anything to report for injuries, nothing from the game. Really key points here for us. I mean, didn't complement each other well enough. We had a chance to we go down an opening kickoff, go down there in scoring position, don't convert a third down. You have to score touchdowns in a red zone in a game like this where we knew the possessions would be limited. We kick a field goal. Got points on the board, kick the ball back off. We end up give up a big return in the plus territory. They punch the ball in and score 7. We get the ball back. I think we get a first down or 2, but ultimately end up in a 3rd and long. We had another penalty, false start. Operation wasn't good enough today. And then we had to punt the ball. So we punt it, and we pin them down on the 5-yard line. Great coverage, great rush, all the things that we want. They're on the 5-yard line, and they go 95 yards for a touchdown. And ultimately, that was the game. That was the swing, the kickoff to the touchdown, to the punt, to the 95-yard drive. Didn't bow up at any point. Didn't play well enough in any phase to win the game, and didn't complement each other well. So that's how you lose games on the road to good physical football teams. Tip of the cap to them. They played well. They were physical. They were the more physical team today, which is not one of the first times I've had to say that this year. And, in a low possession game, we need to score touchdowns, and we didn't. We were, I think, one of 3 or 1 of 4 in the red zone. We gave up too many sacks at the end of the day. We're holding the ball a little bit too long on some of those, and some of those are, guys get beat, and that happens, but too many negative plays in the second half where it didn't allow us to be on game script and on schedule. And that team in 3rd and 7+ is I think they've let up 6 conversions all year long, and we weren't going to be any one of them there in that situation. So tough. Still, guys played hard. We still kept fighting. But at the end of the day, we didn't have enough complimentary football and didn't play well enough.
You got on the over.
All right, so there's Brian Callahan talking a little bit about my 3 things. I'll give you all 3 of them. He talked about them subtly over that little course there as he went on about why the Titans lost to the Chargers, because I believe the reasons they lost to the Chargers are also the reasons they've lost all season. Before I tell you what those 3 things are, I'm going to tell you about Two Rivers Ford, my friends over at Two Rivers Ford, South's home for Ford Broncos and the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Everywhere I go, I see a Ford Bronco, and Ford Broncos are very different. There's options, color combinations, different packages and trim levels, which is why the Two Rivers Ford team is inviting you to get to know the Ford Bronco. It's an open invite. You don't even need to be in the market for a vehicle to go check it out. Two Rivers Ford is a team of Bronco experts on hand to introduce you to the Bronco, answer questions, let you test drive. And remember, the sales team does not work for commission. They're just there to educate you, answer your questions, and to introduce you to a really cool vehicle that you might not know a lot about. That's one of the reasons people love doing business with Two Rivers Ford and why they're the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Go see my friends at Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, just 7 miles east of the airport, and get to know the Ford Bronco. All right, Brian Callahan hits a couple of them. The first one is very simple. The first one has already been pegged in the chat. The first one, he says straight up, complimentary football. It's been a theme that is recurring for the Titans this year. It's been something that Brian Callahan has brought up before. What does complimentary football mean? It means not letting one negative play spiral into multiple negative plays. It means building on positive momentum. When you do something well on offense, do something well on defense to complement it. And yet what we've seen from the Titans all year is a team that will come out and play well on offense one game, like Green Bay. And that game, they also just happen to be horrible on defense and get destroyed by Malik Willis. We'll see the defense have a dominant effort against the Chicago Bears. And we'll see the offense lay an egg in the second half and the special teams give up a touchdown. We'll see games like the Detroit Lions where they will go down the field, march down the field, and score a touchdown drive, and immediately 70-yard touchdown run. Regroup at halftime, feeling pretty good, trying to gain momentum, 90-yard punt return touchdown. On a big defensive stop, look at you. You just got the ball back. At away defense, interception in your own territory. That has been what the Titans have done all year. They've not played well enough in all 3 phases at the same time. They have not compounded on positive plays. And that's exactly what they did against the Chargers on Sunday. When the Titans missed a field goal in the first half, they missed their first field goal of the season. They immediately gave up a touchdown. One negative play turned into now a long sequence of negative plays that flipped a game in a 10-point swing for the opponent. The Titans go down. They kick a field goal. It was a nice drive to open the second half. Feeling good. Maybe this is something. Long touchdown drive. Punt. Long touchdown drive. Punt. Compounding mistakes. Failure to take that momentum. Seize it. Honestly, the only game that they have done this well is the New England game, where you give up a last-second touchdown to the Patriots, who tie the game, and it was deflating. I was in Nissan Stadium when that Drake May miracle toss-up happened. It felt like the Titans were dead. And you have to credit Mason Rudolph and Tony Pollard and the offense for piecing together a nice long drive, kicking a field goal, and then the defense for answering the bell. But that is complementary football that good teams play. The Titans do not. So that's number 1. Brian Callahan hit it there. Number 2, negative plays. He briefly mentioned turnovers as something that killed the Titans, or not turnovers, sorry, penalties as something that killed the Titans, but negative plays is a big one. The Titans' defensive effort was poor against the Chargers. Not only did they create 0 turnovers, and get beat on the ground by the running game. They also failed to create really any sort of negative plays. 0 sacks on Justin Herbert. It's the first time all year that Justin Herbert has not been sacked in a game. And only 4 plays for negative yardage, all of them between -1 to -2 yards. It was like run for -1, run for -1. One of them was followed up by an immediate touchdown. So 0 sacks. The Chargers only had 1 offensive penalty on the day. The Titans had penalty after penalty after penalty. False start, hold, face mask. Because the Chargers are operationally sound. They're technically sound. The Chargers faced 10 third downs in this game. 3 out of 10 came in 3rd and 6 or longer. They were in manageable third downs the entire game. The Titans, 9 third downs faced. 7 of 9, 3rd and 6 or longer. So 77% of the Titans' third downs, 3rd and 6 or longer. 30% of the opponent. The Titans said coming into this game that they were looking to beat the Chargers at their own style of play. That style of play being a team that can control the line of scrimmage, stay ahead of schedule, long drives. And they didn't do it. The Chargers did it to perfection. They executed their game plan. The Titans gave them everything that they wanted. The Titans failed at it, and that has been something that's been an issue all year. Negative plays, sacks, penalties. Kills your drive. That's reason number 2. And number 3, making your drives count. In a game that Brian Callahan knew coming in would be a low possession game, a game the Titans only had 8 possessions against the Chargers, they were in a position to score on 4 of them. That's a 50% hit rate, which is not bad. But you settled for a field goal after a really nice drive getting inside the 10-yard line to start the second half. You settled for a very long field goal, which you missed. Not very long, 49 yards, but longer because you got penalized and backed up 20 yards. That was points on the board that you were leaving on the board in a game that you knew was limited possessions. And that's not new. The Titans are 27th in the league for scoring rate, scoring percentage on red zone trips. When you don't get many drives to the red zone, and that's touchdowns, by the way. They're 27th at scoring touchdowns once they're in the red zone. But when you're a team that doesn't get to the red zone very often, you got to score touchdowns when you're there. The top teams at doing it, some of the top offenses in the league. Baltimore, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay. So there is another issue. Those are my 3 issues. Brian Callahan talked on all 3 of them briefly there. Not complimentary football, not negative plays, and not making your drives count. That's what the Titans did against the Chargers. It's why they lost. And it's why they've continued to losing football games all season. Going to get to Will Levis because I think that is the other major story of this game is what the Titans quarterback looked like. I'm going to play you something from Brian Callahan from today's press conference and then give you some of my thoughts. I want to hear from all of you. And now that we've had a night to sleep on it, how we're feeling about Will Levis. But before I do it, going to tell you all about Gary Ashton. Gary Ashton's the official realtor of the Nashville Predators. Don't sell without the intel. Get your dream address without the stress and the intel that you need to succeed. It's the official realtor of the Nashville Predators, my guy Gary Ashton at GaryAshton.com. That's where to go, man. Check him out. Will Levis, very simple question. Let's do a little introspection, a little therapy here on a Monday night. Sunday's loss to the Chargers left me feeling blank about Will Levis. Sunday's loss to the Chargers left you feeling blank about Will Levis. Here is how it made Brian Callahan feel about Will Levis. Here is him talking about some of Will's pocket presence, the progress that he showed, and whether or not it's a positive sign for the Titans quarterback overall.
You see that as a step in the right direction, or is that because early in the season, right? Narratively, it's he's being reckless with the ball, he's putting the ball in harm's way, And in this game, he doesn't do that, but maybe he's not pulling the trigger fast enough. Is that a different problem, or is that a step in the right direction?
Different. I mean, it's kind of a play-by-play thing because there's a couple plays that he pulled the trigger on that were tight window throws that were really, really nice throws. And that's the throws you got to make sometimes to play in the NFL, to play quarterback. And that part was encouraging. So I think it's I think that play isn't necessarily an indicator of the whole picture. But I do think he did a really nice job in the game of improving that aspect. He was smart with the ball. It was aggressive when he needed to be, and that's one where you'd like to be aggressive in that situation, potentially to hit Josh. But, you're not going to hit every one of them either. And so that part is okay. But I did see progress, and there's a lot of things I felt positive about coming out of that game with Will and where he was at. And, again, not turning the ball over, not putting in harm's way, being smart, running, sliding. All those things were improvements.
You've tried a lot of different, like you said, but maybe perhaps difficult to compare. But just from your perspective, would you rather have Will how he was earlier, where you're having to tell him, like, don't risk it there, that's not the situation, or the Will that was more efficient and then missed a couple of, like, is that a positive?
Yes. Switch? Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna excuse me. You're going to miss throws and you're going to miss opportunities, and that's just how it goes. You're not going to hit every one of them. There's going to be guys that come open that your feet get taken away, your timing's off, and you got to move on. And just like, if we just would have hit that. But what's happening in the pocket or how the coverage dictates or what the quarterback sees is not always going to be after the fact. It looks maybe more open than it was to him in the moment. So those aren't things that I spend too much time on. You just try to point it out and correct it and move on if there's something that can be corrected. But I saw growth in Will's play in this game. I really did. There was improvement. There's part of playing quarterback that, for the most part, can be pretty boring, and that's probably 80% of playing quarterback is doing the normal, mundane, ordinary things consistently well. And then there's a time and a place where your talent has to take over, and that's a big throw, the touchdown, for example. 2 or 3 of those throws, you saw Will's talent, his ability to fit the ball in a tight window accurately, taking off and running, using his feet, using his legs. Those things were all really good to see, and I feel like that's an improvement from where we were to where we are now. And we got another stiff challenge this week against the Vikings for him to show even more of that. And that's just the way it is. There's going to be give and take moments that are good, and there's going to be some that you got to keep coaching. And but I was pleased with what he showed in that game.
A lot of good stuff there. Very long response, but insightful response from Brian Callahan, who was pretty optimistic today on Levis overall. He wasn't just throwing him under the bus saying, well, he had bad pocket presence. He kind of said, honestly, the sacks are an offensive issue, not even a Will Levis issue. Maybe a couple of them he could have been better, but you'd much rather, as he said, have Will Levis like this, more efficient as a passer, making good decisions with the ball, not turning the ball over. 18 for 23 for 175, 2 touchdowns, tucked it and ran it when he needed to, added 41 yards on the ground, and have sacks be something that you work on. But it's no different than when you tell Will, hey, that's not the time to risk that throw. That's not the time to do that. It's the same way with a sack, right? Telling Will that's not the time to hold on to the ball and wait for something to develop down the field and try and take a shot, right? Right now, we need to get the ball out quick and we need to be okay instead of waiting for something bigger to develop. But that will come with time, and Brian Callahan clearly feels it's fixable. I thought Sunday was an encouraging day overall, the same way the Titans head coach does. And so I ask, the loss to the Chargers left you feeling what about Will Levis? I see hopeless. I see undecided. Impatient. I think this is a good word. I think a lot of people are impatient, but at least we're recognizing that we're impatient. And then maybe we need to be more patient. Maybe we don't. I don't know. Unenthusiastic, made you feel nothing, made you feel decided and unenthusiastic and stuck and solid and drunk and unclear, made you feel like it was Jake Locker and in flux and hopeful, slightly optimistic. I felt tantalized by Will Levis. That's my one word, tantalized. Now, the definition of tantalized, you might ask, to tease or torment by or as if presenting something desirable to the view, but continually keeping it out of reach. I felt like Will Levis, like you were giving me little tantalizing tastes of the Will Levis that I've been dreaming of and hoping for. I started to see all the progress. Like what Will Levis looked like against the Chargers is what I thought he would look like at the beginning of the year. Imperfect, but optimistic. And then over the course of the year, we would work out some of those imperfections. But it can be frustrating that now this imperfect version of Will Levis that shows promise is only coming in week 10. And as good as it might get, as good as Will might play, it is still tantalizing to me because I still believe the Titans are trending towards replacing him. They are still picking 3rd overall in the 2025 NFL draft if the season ended today. And I don't see a ton more wins coming. They've got to go play Minnesota. They've got to go play Washington. This is not a friendly schedule for the Titans. Minnesota, Houston, Washington, you could be looking at 2-10. Honestly, probably will be looking at 2-10. So the odds that the Titans are picking high in the draft are all the way up there. Andrew says he doesn't see another win. You know, I think you could beat the Colts. I think you could beat the Jags. I think those are kind of toss-up games. So yeah, maybe you have 3 games that are winnable and a bunch of losses, but like at best, you're maybe looking at 5-12 at best. And that is, again, it's weird to have Will do a lot of positive stuff in my eyes and still feel like, but I still feel like it's too far away and like you're not actually going to give it to me. So I feel very tantalized. I like the word impatient, though, earlier, because ultimately this is how I feel like most people are with Will Levis. I think people have this idea of Will needing to be a top 10 quarterback. And you get a game like yesterday where he's overall pretty good, does a lot of positives, more positives than negatives, for sure. And yet we're sitting here like ripping him because he took 2 sacks that you didn't like in the second half. That's why I gave Easton Freeze such a hard time on the post-game show when he was saying this was the worst half of football Will Levis has played all year. Have you watched the other halves of football? And granted, Easton has told me since he reviewed the tape and thinks it was a bit of an exaggeration and that he was probably wrong. But that's where I feel like a lot of people fall. Impatient. You're waiting for it to be off the charts. And it might not get there. Matter of fact, it won't get there this year. It's not going to be off the charts this year. It's not going to be amazing. Brandon says, look at what guys are doing now that they're on year 3 or 4, and says Baker. Well, Baker's on like year 8. Or what, a year 6, 7. Bert, hold up with your fingers if you know what year of Baker Mayfield's career this is. What was he, the first pick in 2018? So this would be year 7 for Baker Mayfield. I mean, but there's a guy, right, who waited till year 6 in Tampa to really step it up and prove himself to be a franchise quarterback. It's difficult. I mean, Sam Darnold, I guess, he's struggling as well, though, now 3 interceptions. I think there's a ceiling on him. Will Levis is still on our rookie schedule, and I know Titans fans are tired of hearing that. But with the amount of football that he has played, it is true. And as Brian Callahan said, working out something like knowing when to not risk a throw and knowing when to throw the ball away and not take a sack versus hold on to it and wait for a deep shot. Knowing when to do those things comes from playing football, something he hasn't done. I don't think anybody's waiting 6 years for Levis, as Eric says, which is why it's tantalizing and frustrating to have these baby drops of such success when you know it's more than likely coming to an end soon. I don't know. I'll say this, every game Will Levis continues to get better. If we assume he keeps getting better, the offseason gets that much more interesting. I mean, what a world the Titans would be in if Will Levis is playing good football down the stretch and they keep losing games and they end up with a pick and they have got to figure out what the heck to do with that. I mean, that would be complicated. That's why we're talking about it. With 2-7 football teams, still got a lot of debates here. Karen says early bird tonight. Yep, early bird tonight so that you guys can go watch all of Monday Night Football in its entirety if you have interest in doing that, or maybe just get out of here and, go spend time with yourself or loved ones or whatever. Do something fun on a Monday night. So I'm coming at you early. Let's wrap it up. Let's get to Gone Viral. I got a couple of funny things that I have to talk about. Before we do, TrueMav Fitness, got to tell you about my friends over at TrueMav, TrueMavFitness.com for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workouts ever recycled or repeated at TrueMav. They've got personal training, group fitness classes, memberships that also offer an open gym. So TrueMavFitness.com in the Gulch. That's the place to go for your new workout plan. All right, Gone Viral. Bert's not hopping on here with me today. Still feeling a little bit under the weather. Feel better, Bert. But let's go to one of the more interesting videos I saw on the internet today, because something I forgot was happening is around the corner later this week.
Obviously, it would be the biggest moment in all of boxing history when I put this man to sleep.
He dreams a lot. This is not going to come true, young man.
I respect your opinion, but it's just my time. The universe know it, the gods know it, I know it, and you're gonna know it. Plain and simple.
Okay, for next week, we'll see. I think he thinks this is gonna be a very easy night. It's not gonna be an easy night.
Why does Mike Tyson win this fight?
Because I'm Mike Tyson.
You know, the gods have showed this to me. I'm gonna be faster, stronger. He's not gonna know where I'm coming from, and I'm
great imagination.
I'm truly gonna show the world that I outboxed Mike Tyson.
I'm just ready. Let's go.
Jake?
Let's go.
I can't stop smiling at Mike Tyson. He's so funny to me. He got a great imagination. And I forgot this fight was happening. I didn't think it was going to happen. But yeah, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are boxing this Friday night. I can't wait. I'm stoked to watch Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. And the reason I find this interesting, don't roast me, chat, but I do want to hear your opinion. I don't know who wins. I really don't know who wins. And I don't know who that's a bigger insult to. Mike Tyson, boxing legend. Old, slow. I think like Jake Paul is younger, more agile. I don't know what Mike Tyson. I'm not familiar with his game. Let's put it that way. I have not seen nearly enough videos of Mike Tyson in the ring now and seeing what he's capable of. I really do not know who wins between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. And what's unfortunate, I would say, but also true, but I guess speaks to how good Jake Paul is as a promoter, is the fact that no matter what, this is going to be it's going to be Mike Tyson's going to win. And if Jake Paul wins, then it was a fake fight and Tyson took a dive. And that is the entire thing that Jake Paul has mastered, is this idea of, if I lose, it was a real fight and everybody's going to celebrate it. If I win, you're going to say I can't win, but then he's going to win and then be like, oh, and next I'm fighting Steph Curry. And then people are going to be like, oh, can't wait to watch Jake Paul versus Steph Curry. And then he's going to fight Mu Dang live in front of an audience of 100,000. And people are going to watch. I don't know. I'm rooting for Mike Tyson as well. That made me laugh. But I don't know who wins that fight, and I forgot that it was happening. So I'm excited to watch that on Friday night. And then the other thing, we often hear NFL players talk about, I don't care about your fantasy football, and I don't care about your parlay. They don't care about your bets with Zen Sports when you're a professional athlete, unless they're LeBron James, who goes and grabs an extra rebound just because a fan needs it for his parlay.
What was that moment with the fans to get that final rebound? Speaking of rebounds down the stretch, and you point at him.
Well, yeah, he definitely yelled at me, got my attention, said, one more rebound. I was like, what? He was like, one more. So I got one more, and I pointed at him to acknowledge that I was listening. So I appreciate it to that guy over there.
So I'm normally, like, LeBron normally makes me very upset. He does a lot of corny things. The idea of a fan getting LeBron's attention, telling him to grab one more rebound for a triple-double so that his bet hits, and then LeBron going and intentionally grabbing a rebound and celebrating with the fan. Hey, why can't more athletes just lean into this side of it? So many athletes complain on social media. Guys like Man, get out of here. You cost me my parlay. And then an athlete gets all butthurt online. I don't care about your parlay. Just be like, hey, my bad. That's on me, man. My fault. It'll make people like you a lot more, that's for sure. As a normally anti-LeBron guy, LaParlay James comes through, as Titans fan 2925 says. Made a fan out of me. All right, that's all we got. A to Z primetime tonight. Come back. Buck Rising will be back in my place tomorrow. So you can go and hang out with Buck tomorrow night. And I will be on the A to Z Sports morning show tomorrow as well. I'm all over the place over like the last 24 hours. So come check me out with Austin Stanley and A2Zsports.com for written content. Till next time, we'll see you.
Go home.